Hey, y'all, welcome to Andrea Speaks TV. I'm your host, Andrea, here to bring you news and commentary you can use. So I want to say thank you all so much for your support, for tuning in, subscribing to the channel. I appreciate all of your support. All right, listen, y'all, got a couple of topics to talk about. I'm going to give some people some time to join. Again, I want to say thank you all so much for your support. We're going to get started in just a moment. Let me get my information loaded up on my screen here. Thank you all so much for your patience. Hello, everyone watching now live. I appreciate your support. Hey, say hello. Let me know you're tuning in. Let me know where you're watching from. I appreciate you taking time out of your Thursday to tune in with me right here. I'm sorry, why I said Thursday, y'all. Friday. It's Friday, duh. It's Friday. So I appreciate you taking time out of your Friday to tune in and get this news and information. Okay, let me know, are you a new viewer? Did you happen to stumble upon my channel? Or let me know if you are a longtime supporter. Let me know in the chat. Okay, y'all, we're here. You all know right here on the channel, I cover a lot of topics, right? We talk about food shortages, water shortages, world news, the fact that we all, right, we all need to be as self-sufficient, self-reliant as possible. And so I want to talk about food shortages. Okay, you all let me know. I've been talking about food shortages for quite some time. You all let me know. I want to hear from you. How are there food shortages in your area? Do you believe that there are even food shortages? Do you think that they're real? Do you think it's a conspiracy theory? Or do you say, you know what, Andrea, I'm looking around in my particular area and I don't know what you're talking about. There's food everywhere. The shelves are stocked up. Let me know. Okay, y'all, this is an interactive channel and I like to have a conversation with you all. So whenever I do go live, I want to hear from you. Let me know. What are your thoughts on food shortages? Okay, you all let me know exactly what you're seeing in your area. All right. Got some news I want to bring to you. Make sure that not only you watch this video, make sure you like this video. Leave me some comments. Let me know your thoughts. Also, share this video, and I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel if you have not already subscribed. Okay. I've been going through a sinus thing. I think it's because of the change in the seasons where I am, which is in the southeast part of the United States. Fall is here, y'all, right? Well, the first day of fall, I think, was yesterday. I could be wrong. Y'all tell me. But it's starting to be fall now. And so, some mornings it's cooler and then it gets warmer during the day. And then during the nighttime, it's back cool again. Is it like that in your area? So with all of the changes in the weather, it's starting to, sometimes, it can mess with your sinuses, things like that. So I am feeling better. I feel myself getting, kind of stuffy again, but I do believe that I'll be all right. Okay. All right. Again, y'all let me know. Are you seeing food shortages in your area? You all let me know. As soon as this page loads, we're going to talk about some topics, things that have been going on. Now, if you know that there's something in particular that you would like to talk about on tonight's live episode, please leave some comments in the chat. Let me know, Andrew, we need to talk about this, or this happened today. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't really had a chance to look at world news today, or really to see what some of the, main topics were today. So you all maybe can fill me in on that. Okay. Again, thank you all so much for supporting the channel. Okay. All right, y'all. So give me just 1 second. Okay, y'all, let's talk about California. Do I have any supporters in the house from California? Here's some news. We're going to talk about food shortages, so make sure you stick around. California, I'm seeing some news. You all let me know now. California, I'm going to be honest with you, okay? I've never been to California. Of course, I know people that have. They say it's a beautiful state, wonderful people in the great state of California. But, there are some concerns about things that are happening in California, with the current leadership. I believe Governor Gavin Newsom, I believe that's his name. It seems like he's implementing a lot of policies, particularly policies that support what some would call the Green New Deal, policies that support climate change initiatives, things of that nature, right? Here's a story. We're going to talk about food shortages, so make sure you stick around. Here's a story that caught my attention, okay? This is coming, the news source I'm using is The Hill, okay? And the title of the article says, California is the first state to ban natural gas heaters and furnaces. Listen at this, y'all, okay? Now, according to the article from The Hill, it says a new proposal passed by the California Air Resources Board, or CARB, as they're abbreviated, CARB, cements the state as the first to ban natural gas heaters and furnaces. Okay, listen to this, y'all. The decision, which was passed unanimously, listen to this, y'all. The decision, which was passed unanimously, aims to phase out sales of the space heater and water heater appliances by the year 2030. Okay, now we've talked about right here on the channel, y'all. It seems like in a lot of my research, the 2 years, okay, that I see talked about the most when it comes to climate change and that whole, agenda, I see them talking about the year 2030, and I see them also mention the year 2050. Okay, you all let me know, am I right or wrong? Do you see the same thing when it comes to talks about climate change, saving, the planet, things like that? It seems like they always mention the year 2030 and the year 2025, right? I'm sorry, the year 2030 and the year 2050. Okay. Now, the article says the commitment is part of a broader range of environmental efforts passed by the board this week to meet the federal 70 parts per billion 8-hour ozone standard over the next 15 years. Okay. The article also goes on to say that while this strategy will clean the air for all Californians, it will also lead to reduced emissions in the many low income and disadvantaged communities that experience greater levels of persistent air pollution. Okay, so some kind of way they're saying, low income, disadvantaged communities are going to benefit from the fact that natural gas heaters and furnaces are not being used, because according to them, they're saying it's basically polluting their communities. Now, what do you all think about this, y'all? Are they trying to take an issue that is really not an issue and tie it in and say, hey, we need to do this because it's going to help low income and disadvantaged communities? Is this their way of trying to sell whatever agenda that they're trying to implement? Think about that, y'all. That's something to think about, right? Okay, here's a quote by the CARB chair, Leanne Randolph, who said in a statement, while this strategy, and I quote, while this strategy will clean the air. Oh, I already read that. Okay, so that was a quote by, let me just read it again, y'all. Thank you to everyone. Thank you and hello to everyone who's tuned in now live, or if you're watching by replay. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Friday evening to tune in with me. And thank you for trusting me to provide you with news and information that you can use. Okay, so here's a quote by CARB chair Leanne Randolph, who said, while this strategy will clean the air for all Californians, it will also lead to reduced emissions in the many low-income and disadvantaged communities that experience greater levels of persistent air pollution, said CARB chair Leanne Randolph in a statement. Okay. Residential and commercial buildings in California, the article says, account for approximately 5% of the state's total nitrogen oxide emissions due to natural gas combustion, according to the originally proposed plan, which was released in August of 2022. Okay. In addition, the article says space and water heating make up nearly 90% of all building related natural gas. Okay. It says when burned, natural gas does emit less carbon dioxide than oil or coal. However, natural gas, the article says, leaks natural gas leaks pose health risk to homeowners as they contain varying levels of volatile chemicals linked with cancer. Okay. Another representative who is a senior associate of RMI, a nonprofit focused on the transition to clean energy, had this to say. Okay, they told Bloomberg that we're really hopeful that this is the beginning of a domino effect and other states will follow California's lead. Okay, a lot of things, it seems like California has been a first or leading the way when it comes to, many different things. Certainly, we've, talked about mandates, the push to, the push for electric vehicles, electric cars, so many things. California seems like it's leading the way. And I'm not saying it's good or bad, but it's concerning. It seems like California is leading the way in a lot of initiatives that I don't necessarily believe may be in the best interest of the people. What do you all think about that? Okay, so that's some news that came out of California. Again, the title of the article, this comes from The Hill. California, the first state to ban natural gas heaters and furnaces. Okay, let me give you all an update on food shortages. Okay, again, you all let me know, are you seeing food shortages in your area? Let me know your thoughts on that. Okay, now earlier I did a video and I talked about how the UN chief, okay, the UN food chief, I believe his name was David Beasley, he pretty much warned that, hey, if we don't do something about the global, if we don't do something about what's happening currently with food pricing, food availability, the fact that, hey, there are export bans on fertilizer. Sorry about that, y'all. Fertilizer is needed in the, in the process of growing and producing food. He basically said, hey, if something isn't done about this now, okay, we're going to have a serious food availability issue in 2023. And I quote, he said, it's going to be hell on earth. Okay, you all make sure you check out the video. It's right here on the channel. Let's go ahead, and I'm looking for some updates on what they have been saying as far as food shortages. Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you all so much for tuning in and trusting me to bring you news and commentary that you can use. Okay, please make sure you like this video, share this video, leave me some comments, let me know your thoughts. Right now we're about to transition and talk about food shortages. So you all know right here on the channel I've been giving you updates, many updates about the status of food pricing and food availability all across in my particular area, in different parts of the United States as well as the world. So you all let me know, what are your thoughts on food shortages? What are you seeing in your area? Okay, all right, so I want to update you all, give you all some recent updates. And the UN had this to also say. Okay, all right, so here is, hold on just a minute, y'all. Let's see. All right, so here is an article. It's coming up. Okay, give me just a moment here. Just waiting on it to come up. Thank you all so much for your patience. All right, give me just a moment here. And again, we're talking about food shortages, okay? Talking about food shortages. All right, give me just a minute, y'all. And if you have any questions, okay, if you have any questions about our topic, right now we're about to speak about food shortages. You all please put them in the comments so that I can, see your question and also answer your question. All right, let me go back to. I'm sorry about this, y'all. I had everything set up and then some kind of way it went off the screen. So I'm having to go back and pull up everything. So thank you all so much for your patience. Okay, you all who are watching now live, let me know if you have any questions or comments about the topic. Again, we are on talking about food shortages. Okay. All right, here is an article from RTE. Okay, RTE. And the title of the article says Real risk of food shortages next year, warns the UN. Okay, so y'all, this is something that we don't need to take lightly. Okay. All right, now according to the article, it says the Secretary General of the United Nations has warned there is a real risk of food shortages next year. Okay, do you all believe that? Let me know. Do you all believe that there's a real risk of food shortages next year? Let me know your thoughts on that, okay? I've told you all on the channel, less food is being grown today to harvest tomorrow. Okay, so you all let me know your thoughts. I would be curious to know how you all feel about this topic. Okay, so again, the Secretary General of the United Nations has warned there is a, and I quote, real risk of food shortages next year. Okay, he went on to say that a shortage of exports from Russia, okay, which are not subject to sanctions, was behind a fall in the amount of land under cultivation in West Africa and some other parts of the world, which led to food shortages, the article says, which will lead to food shortages next year unless fertilizers are distributed rapidly. Okay, and that's basically what the UN food chief was saying in his message, in his interview yesterday that I shared here on the channel. Fertilizer is a necessary or a what I want to say, it's a major ingredient, so to speak, in the in the growth process of our foods, in the fertilizer, what I'm trying to say is a necessity. You could basically say is a necessity when it comes to growing foods, harvesting foods, right? So think about it. If some countries have bans placed on them to export the different foods, the different fertilizers, I'm sorry, then those fertilizers can't get to other parts of the world so that those people can, in fact, plant the seeds um, and ultimately grow and harvest their crops. Fertilizer is needed. Now, here's a question that I thought about and one that I would like to ask you. So, if that's the case, y'all don't think the government officials in these countries that are placing sanctions and bans, y'all don't think they know this? Y'all don't think that they know how important fertilizer is in the, growth process of our food? Why would they place bans on fertilizer if fertilizer is needed and used by, oh, I'm gonna keep my light on so y'all can see me. Think about this, y'all. I'm asking a serious question, and hopefully at least one of you, if not all of you, can chime in. If fertilizer is so essential, right? If fertilizer is so essential in the process of growing food, right? Y'all there? Y'all with me? If fertilizer is that important and that needed, then why would the government place bans, whether it's import or export bans, on fertilizer? Have you ever thought about that? Be honest. Have you ever really thought about that? Y'all don't think that they know this? Y'all don't think they know how important fertilizer is? So then it makes me wonder, well, do they not want people to eat? What is that about? What y'all think about that? Y'all can't come on and be quiet now. Y'all let me know. What do you think about what I'm saying? Are you like, oh, Andrea, you just talking? I don't know what you're talking about. That's not true. I don't believe the government would do that. What y'all think? Y'all let me know what you think. Okay. So again, the article also goes on to say that in a stark warning, Antonio Guterres said there was a fertilizer crunch in the world today, mainly caused by the war in Ukraine. Y'all, the war in Ukraine. Now, I'm not saying that I don't believe it's real. It does seem, based on the pictures and the images and the videos that we're getting, it seems like there is something going on. But what is it really about? What is it really about? All right, y'all. So again, in a stark warning, this is according to the article. In a stark warning, Antonio Guterres said there was a fertilizer crunch, I quote, a fertilizer crunch in the world today, mainly caused by the war in Ukraine, which was contributing to, and I quote, a real risk of famines next year. Y'all, again, let me come closer. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, y'all, listen. I'm going to try to break it down very, very simple, okay? Okay? I'm going to try to break it down very simple. Okay, so all around the world, right, people are growing crops. All around the world, people are growing crops, right? Well, in the process of growing the crops, they use fertilizer. Right? So if different government officials, those who have been elected, if they are, world leaders, if they're placing sanctions on the countries where the majority of the fertilizer is gotten from, then that means there's going to be less fertilizer to go around to the places that is needed. If there's less fertilizer, that means there's less crops, right? There's crops that are actually harvested. What does that look like when it comes to the food supply next year in 2023 and years after that? What is that going to look like? Will there be enough food to feed all of the people in the world? What do you think? Yes or no? Y'all let me know. Do you think there will be enough food in the future based on all the facts, everything that's been shared? Will there be enough food harvested to feed all of the people? I think it's what, seven. I quoted this in the video earlier where I talked about the UN food chief giving the warning that it was going to be hell on earth, food lows, hell on earth, food shortages like hell on earth, if something wasn't done about this today. Is there going to be enough food to feed all the people? 7.7 billion people worldwide. The article also goes on to say, thank you all so much for tuning in. The article also goes on to say a shortage of fertilizers such as ammonia from Russia has led to a reduction in the amount of land under cultivation this year. Okay. A shortage of fertilizer. Oh, I just read that. Sorry. Okay. The article also goes on to say that coming on top of severe drought and the flooding of Pakistan's most productive farmland. So the most productive farmland in Pakistan just experienced a flood. I told y'all it's all kind of unusual weather patterns, weather events that are going on, right? Y'all a little bit too quiet. Are y'all listening to what I'm saying? What are your thoughts on this? I really would like to know your thoughts. So the article says, coming on top of severe drought and the flooding of Pakistan's most productive farmland, the fertilizer shortage and reduction in output is leading to a global food shortage, which will hit the poorest nations the hardest. You know, our president, President Biden, recently committed, I believe he spoke before the UN General Assembly. This was just recently. And he committed $2.9 billion to help fight global hunger. You know, what are your thoughts on that? Okay. Mr. Guterres, who the article says is the Secretary General of the United Nations, it says that he spoke with the leader of Russia in an effort to broker a deal to increase the amount of Russian food and fertilizer exports through the Black Sea. He told reporters, and I quote, obstacles to the export of Russian food and fertilizers has already led to a fertilizer crunch in the world. Okay. The article also goes on to say that the UN Secretary General is also involved in a dialogue with Russia and Ukraine over the continued safe operation of the hold on, y'all, let me make sure I'm gonna try to pronounce this right. Okay. In the continued safe operation of the Zaporizhzhia, okay, Zaporizhzhia, okay, the nuclear power plant in Ukraine. All right, he said that staff from the UN, United Nations International Atomic Energy Agency, remained on site and there had been no shelling around the plant for 3 days. He said electricity supplies needed to cool the reactors remained intact. Okay, I know there was some concerns about, you know, what was going on there with the nuclear power plant. Okay. However, he declined to discuss the contents of his call with the Russian leader, but said the prospects of a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, and I quote, remain minimal. Okay. The UN, he said, would continue to seek concrete solutions to issues such as nuclear safety, prisoners of war, and food and fertilizer exports. Okay. Meanwhile, the Kremlin has said that the Russian president told Mr. Guterres during the phone call that the, and I quote, priority should be to send Ukrainian grain to countries in greatest need. Okay. During the call, and I quote, the attention was mainly focused on implementing the Istanbul agreements on exporting Ukrainian grain. Both sides emphasized the importance of meeting the needs as a priority of those in Africa, the Middle East, and Latin America who need food, the Russian presidency said in a statement. Okay. The article, you know, continues on. It also said, he said that he witnessed there was a warning that the world faced, and I quote, permanent damage from climate change. Okay, the area affected by flooding, he said, was 3 times the size of Portugal, his home country. He said efforts to prevent climate change, here we go again, y'all, climate change, have flatlined in the developing world. Okay, he said he would use next week's General Assembly to urge leaders to boost emissions reduction measures and raise their climate change. This is what they're talking about now, y'all. Listen to this. He said he will use next week's General Assembly to urge leaders to boost emissions reductions measures and raise their climate change targets to stop global average temperatures rising by more than 1.5 degrees Celsius, something they have failed to do so far in the COP process. Okay, so you all let me know your thoughts on that. Again, I apologize if I'm like, sniffing and everything. My sinuses, it seemed like it kind of maybe gets worse at night. I'm not really sure. So I'm starting to get a little bit stuffy again. But you all let me know your thoughts on this topic. If this isn't a reason why we all need to, again, stock up on our emergency food supply. You all let me know in the comments. Do you have an emergency food supply? Is that something that you have considered? Is that something that you've been doing? Let me know. You can say I already have one, something I'm thinking about, or I haven't started, but I will start. You all let me know in the chat. You all let me know your thoughts. So as I get updates, I'll make sure that I come on live, or either I make a video and I upload to the channel to let you all know exactly what's going on with food shortages. Okay, are you all, there are several of you who are watching the live stream. You all let me know in the comments. I hope that you all are able to type comments. Let me know, are you seeing food shortages in your area? Are you all seeing food shortages in your area? I'm typing now in the chat. If you all could please respond. Believe it or not, y'all, a lot of people, they tune in to the videos, the lives, or either they watch the replay and they read what you all are saying. So I told you all I'm located here in the Southeast United States. Yes, I am seeing shortages of different items in the stores that are, in my area. Also depending on what day of the week that I go shopping, some items are more available. Some items are available at different times, some more than others. I told you all, I tend to do a lot of organic when it comes to fruits, vegetables, meats, things like that. Try to buy organic as much as possible. And it seems like sometimes organic isn't always available. So thank you so much for liking the video. You all make sure you leave a comment. I asked the question, are you seeing food shortages in your area? And I would also like to know, do you all have an emergency food supply? Do you have survival needs? These are things that I not only share information about, but I have these things as well. So you all let me know, okay? Again, I want to also say welcome to new subscribers, new supporters. Thank you all so much for your continued support. Okay, I'm just here hanging out with you all on this Friday evening. And I want to know your thoughts on, are you seeing food shortages in your area? Let's see, what other topic do we need to talk about, y'all? Anybody else have another topic that we need to cover, you're welcome to put it in the chat. And while we're here, I can do some research and talk about it. So you all let me know if you have any comments, questions, comments. Let me know. Let me see. I know my battery isn't going. Uh-oh, y'all. My battery is on 5%. Let's see. I need to get my charger. Hold on just a minute, y'all. Put my phone right here. Actually, my charger. Let's see. You all let me know if you have any questions, comments. Plug this up. Can someone type in the chat? Let me know. Are you all able to type something in the chat? I don't know. Some people could be trying to say something, but it just won't let them type in the chat. Can someone please type something in the chat? Let me know that there's no issues. That you are able to type in the chat. I would appreciate it. All right, y'all. I may have hey, good evening. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you are well and your family is well. All right. I may have time for one more topic, y'all, and then I got to get on the road. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in. All right, let's see. Give me just a minute, y'all. All right, so the last topic. Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay. All right, y'all. This article comes from Business Insider. And let's talk about banks for a minute. Are you all seeing changes at your the banks that you use? I can't confirm this, but based on some research that I did, other videos I watched, some people were reporting. I don't know these people personally, but some people were reporting that banks were, like let's say for example, they want to go in, and now banks have their procedures, right? But some people were reporting that, I can't confirm if this is true or not, but some people were reporting that, they had tried to go in to withdraw money and they were being questioned, and it wasn't necessarily a large amount. Let's see. Okay. Right. I keep telling you all, make sure you're adding water to we need water every day, right? But make sure you're adding water to your emergency food supply. In my area, there have been times when I've seen low supply of water, but thankfully, lately, it's pretty much been in stock. All right, so according to Business Insider, banks are revisiting lockdown plans. Listen to this, y'all. We all need to know about this, right? Okay, so if you have a bank account, if you have a bank that you bank with, if you be banking, okay, you need to hear this. So according to the article, this is from Business Insider. Okay, banks are revisiting lockdown plans as the looming energy crisis, which we've talked about here on the channel as well, as the looming energy crisis brings fears of winter blackouts. Listen to this, y'all. All right, now, some London banks, all right, let's talk about London, the UK. Some London banks are revisiting their lockdown plans to cope with potential blackouts this winter. Y'all, winter is coming. How many of y'all know winter is coming? Raise your hand. I know winter is coming. But have you been preparing for the coming winter? Oh, Andrew, you just said something then. We know winter is coming, right? That's the next season. We're in fall right now, where at least where I am, this is fall. Then we have winter. Winter is coming, y'all. Winter is coming, but have you been preparing for winter? So in London, okay, this is the world news I'm talking about, y'all. Some London banks are revisiting their lockdown plans to cope with the looming energy crisis this winter. Banks in the city of London, the article says, listen to this, y'all. Now, you may say, Andrea, I don't care nothing about this. I'm not in London. Okay, I'm not either. But guess what? Anytime I share world news with you, I always say, hey, if it's happening over there somewhere, if it's happening over there, okay, if it's happening over yonder, okay, some of y'all say yonder. Don't laugh at me. Y'all say yonder too, right? If it's happening over yonder, could it happen here? So when I share world news, okay, hello, when I share world news, even if you don't live in that country, think about it and ask yourself, wow, look at what's happening over there. Look at how the people are reacting. Look at what's going on. Could something like that happen here? That's the purpose of me sharing world news, y'all. So listen to this, right? Some London banks are revisiting their lockdown plans to cope with the looming energy crisis this winter. Banks in the city of London have been discussing how potential blackouts might affect their business operations during regular talks, according to the trade body UK Finance, which coordinates the discussions. Y'all, I promise you, it seemed like a bank. Okay, some people might, yeah, I want to be at a bank when it's a power outage, but y'all know that's not really a safe thing, right? Think about all the safety concerns surrounding being at a bank or access to a bank when the power is out. Okay, so it sounds like they're trying to plan ahead, right? Some are turning back to emergency plans made during the pandemic and considering measures such as using off-site locations, installing extra generators, or encouraging staff to work from home, the UK trade body confirmed to insiders. Okay, now think about this, y'all. Think about, I know here in the US, I still see this to this day. Y'all let me know, do y'all see the same thing? Y'all, are we still in a coin shortage? Remember when the pandemic first happened? They started putting up signs saying, oh, it's a coin shortage. Y'all remember that? And depending on where you went, if you paid for an item using cash, they wanted you to use exact change, because due to this coin shortage, and I'm going to just say coin shortage, right? Due to the coin shortage, okay, I'm gonna do it again. Somebody want me to do it again. Because of the coin shortage, right? You had to use exact change, or maybe pay with a debit card. They claim they weren't able to give cash back. I still, to this day, y'all, the pandemic started March 2020. This is September 2022. I still see places talking about a coin shortage. So what I'm wanting you to think about now is think about how, due to this shortage, right? Less coins were allegedly available. They claimed that, due to the lockdowns, there weren't people, that worked at the Federal Reserve who could, keep the coins in circulation, or, whatever the process is. Think about this, y'all. Okay, stay with me. We're going to come back to that. Some The article says are turning back to emergency plans made during the pandemic and considering measures such as using off-site locations, installing extra generators, or encouraging staff to work from home, the UK trade body confirmed to Insider. Lenders, building societies, and branch offers for international banks are all partaking in the talks, according to the trade body. Okay, Andrew Rogan, who the article says is the Director of Operational Resilience at UK Finance, told Bloomberg that all firms of all sizes were, and I quote, paying close attention to the potential for blackouts. Okay, there is no sense of panic, he added. Just everyone is making sure their ducks are in a row. Okay, the article says firms are also studying South Africa. Firms are also studying South Africa, where power cuts have become a part of daily life. Maybe I need to research that. I didn't know that was going on in South Africa. Okay, UK Finance told Bloomberg. The UK, the US, and the EU, the European Union, have all been preparing for more common power blackouts since energy supplies were squeezed, the article says, by Russia in response to sanctions on Moscow after the country invaded Ukraine. Okay, the UK has drawn up plans for the possibility of organized blackouts for both industry and households this winter. Okay, earlier this month, the article says Reuters reported that major banks in Europe were implementing energy cutting measures to cope with a limited gas supply to the continent. Y'all, I got to do a video and bring you all some information about this. You know, people over in, you know, parts of Europe, Asia, they're preparing for the winter. And, you know, some of the things that I read, some things that are going on, how they're being forced to cut back on energy, cut back on heat in some countries. I believe it was Germany. I may have it wrong. But some countries, it was either Germany or France. They had to take cold showers. Think about that, y'all. You know, what would you do if they said we had to do that here in the U.S.? JP Morgan, the article concludes by saying JP Morgan and other major banks reportedly turned off hot water in fountains to cut down on energy use. Speaking of turning off hot water, right? The article concludes by saying JP Morgan and other major banks reportedly turned off hot water in fountains to cut down on energy. So what do y'all think about that, y'all? You know, again, more and more we see talks, we hear talks about, you know, the need for climate change. Just today, y'all, I read an article. I don't have it up. Maybe I'll save it for another video. But just kind of tell you, you know, there's so many talks. California certainly led the way on this, it seemed like, by requiring or saying, you know, hey, we want all of our people to have electric cars, right? Do you know today, now I saw an article where they're saying, hey, by the way, yeah, we want you to have electric cars, but the electric grid here in the U.S. isn't strong enough. You know, we're starting to have second thoughts about, do we even have the capability to allow all these people with electric cars to charge their electric vehicles? And I know they specifically mentioned about charging them at night. Think about that, y'all. Could it be another way of control, wanting to control when we can and cannot drive? Imagine that you having an electric vehicle, right? And I don't know how many miles, I don't know how it works. Maybe you all can tell me, but I don't know how it works as far as like how far you can drive or how many miles you can drive on your battery, you know, for one charge. But imagine you need to drive a great distance, you know, for whatever reason, and the government or whoever is in control of the electric grid, imagine them shutting off all the power to the electric vehicle charging stations. How are you going to get around if you only rely on electric vehicles? How would you get around if the power grid failed? Thank you all so much for liking the video, sharing the video, subscribing to the channel. I hope that what I'm saying makes sense. Do you all agree with what I'm saying? Are you all just tuning in to hear what I have to say, or do you actually agree with me? Or do you disagree? By all means, you know, you can, you're definitely entitled to your opinion, but I would just like to know your thoughts. You know, in so many different ways, a lot of these policies A lot of the outcomes, they seem convenient on the surface, but when you really start, looking into it, saying, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? What is this really about? Then you start to realize, wait a minute, something's not right about this. I told y'all I did a whole video on where they talked about how people, I believe it was in Colorado. Y'all remember I talked about in Colorado where the people had it's like a smart thermostat, and because they didn't read the fine print, or maybe they read the fine print, I don't know. Maybe they read the fine print and said, hey, I'll still sign up for this rewards program because they're going to give me a discount. Do y'all know those people's thermostats got locked? Again, due to, wanting to save energy and all of these other different things, right? Do you know these people's thermostats got locked and they couldn't even adjust the temperature, and it was over 90 degrees? Think about that, y'all. Are you thinking about that? I really don't think a lot of people really, really understand what's going on, what's to come. I think a lot of people, and you all let me know if you feel like this as well, but I think a lot of people may be blindsided by what they see in front of them. They can only see this far. They can't see ahead to see what's coming. And unfortunately, for many of those people, I feel like when ish does hit the fan, they're going to look back and realize and say, hey, wait a minute. I should have been getting prepared all this time. Why didn't I get prepared? I should have listened to my family member. I know many of you all let me know. Do you have a family member, loved one, co-worker, church member, someone that you love and care about, and you've been trying to tell them all this time, look what's going on. They doing this, they're doing that. This ain't right. That ain't right. They're trying to trick you. They're trying to fool us. They're not telling us the complete truth. All of us, I'm pretty sure, we can agree and say, you know what? We all know someone who we tried to tell them and they didn't want to listen. They said we were conspiracy theorists. And all of a sudden, here we are, fast forward whatever time period in the future, right? when ish has hit the fan. And now they looking back saying, dang, I wish I would have listened. I thought everything was fine. I didn't think the government would do that. Do y'all know someone like that, or is that just me? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. So as much as possible, y'all, make sure that you're staying busy. You're getting prepared. What do you mean by that, Andrea? Your emergency food supply, your survival needs. You can do your own research. I've talked about several different ways on the channel. I even have a website, preparewithandrea.com. Okay, I'll type it in the chat. But you can get emergency food supply and survival needs from there. Okay, I've ordered many things myself. And by no means am I saying, hey, this is the only place where you can go. There are many different places out there, right? But these are products that I'm using, and so far that I'm satisfied with, and that I'm recommending to you as well. Okay, so I did put the link in the chat. You can check it out. Feel free to check it out. Emergency food supply as well as your survival needs. Make sure, again, I'm going to keep saying this, make sure that you add water. Hello, make sure you're adding water to your emergency food supply and survival needs. Very, very important. We all need water. Okay, so make sure you're adding water to your emergency food supply and survival needs. Whether you're able to grow your own garden, even if you're in a small space, there are many different resources where you can look up and see, okay, how do I grow food on a patio? How do I grow food indoors? How do I grow food if I have an apartment or if I live in an apartment? They're all different ways. Okay, so again, I want to encourage you to stay encouraged. I know a lot of times the topics that I may talk about may be a little bit heavy, but again, so much information. You know, the reason why I started the channel, for those who may or may not know, I wanted to be a source of news and information. I say this in my very first video I ever posted on the channel. The title of the video is Welcome to Andrea Speaks TV. But I talked about in that video my inspiration for creating the channel. And I say, you know what? There's so much news and information that is pushed out to us. You know, sometimes it's kind of hard. Like, okay, they told us this, they told us that. What do they really want us to know about, right? What's really going on? And so I want this channel to be a source of news and information to help you see, hey, this is what's really going on. So that, you know, some things are completely out of our control. Many things are out of our control, right? But what we can control is the amount of effort, time, research we put into making sure that we have the things that we need, whatever that may be for you and your family, so that we can protect, provide for our families, our loved ones, ourselves, so that we can sustain and thrive through the times that we're living in. I'm gonna say this again, y'all. Less food is being grown today to harvest tomorrow. What is the food supply going to look like in 2023? I can't tell you exactly, but based on the research I've done, I can tell you it seems like there's going to be less available than what we're seeing now. So how are you preparing for that, knowing that information? If someone I've told you, okay, we have the UN food chief who said, hey, if we don't do something about this now, it's going to be hell on earth food lows in 2023. All the signs are there, you know. We see what's happening in a lot of these countries. Many things I've talked about right here on the channel. What are you doing to prepare today? Or do you say, you know what, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to wait and starve. Is that what you're saying? I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to wait, see what happens, and I may starve in the process. Do something today while you can. Do as much as you can while you can. And I guarantee when ish does hit the fan, you'll be thankful that you did. I know sometimes it's hard, especially those of us who, you know, you may, you know, have a career and you're working. A lot of days you may be tired, okay? You may not feel like, you know, working in the garden or going out shopping to get the things you need. I understand it all, okay? I'm right there with you. Hello. But in the end, you know, it's going to be worth it because you have the things that you need. You're able to provide for your family, and, you know, you'll be prepared for whatever it is, you know, that you may face. So again, stay encouraged, stay busy. Thank you all so much again for trusting me to bring you news and information here on the channel. I hope that something I have said in this video or other videos on the channel, I hope that you take it and say, you know what, Andrea, you're right. Let me get up now. And you know what? I did a video and I said, is it too late? I don't think it's too late to start preparing now. You may have some challenges. Now, I can say that last year when I was buying things like candy jars, I paid much cheaper prices last year than the prices are today. And I told you all, today's prices may not be tomorrow's prices. So if you're someone who you're like, okay, I haven't even started. What, Andrew? Maybe you just found my videos today. You say, you know what? I didn't know all these things were going on. Let me go out right now or tomorrow and let me get started. It's not too late. You may have some challenges. I'll be real with you. You may have some challenges. There's some things maybe you might not be able to find. And if you're able to find them, they may be in low supply. You may have to pay higher prices, but it's not too late. Go ahead. Please get started. Have you an emergency food supply, survival needs. I share my website with you if you would like to check that out. Get some things from there. I have an order coming in. Should arrive sometime next week. Different things. And if you can't, you know, do a little bit along the way. I'm not saying you have to go out and get everything at one time. You have to do what your budget allows, okay? So, again, y'all, thank you so much for trusting me here on the channel. to provide you with news and information that you can use. I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. When you subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit all notifications. That way, whenever I do go live or I upload new content, you'll be notified, okay? Got to get on the road, y'all. Thank you so much. I'll be back in another video right here on Andrea Speaks TV. Y'all take care, stay blessed, and get prepared, y'all. Take care.